Welcome to Telling the Tale. It's the podcast where we're going to cover every single Telltale video game released while they were making video games. I'm your host, Mitchell Farley Wolf, and I'm the games one. And I'm here with Dustin Jackson, who's the cartoons one. Hi, Dustin.
Hello, I'm the cartoon one, I guess.
Yeah, do you want that? I could also make you the...
No, I like it.
You're into, like, trucks.
Your dad's still really into those trains?
Yeah, what are your other interests that I can make you the one of?
I like chicken enchiladas.
I can call you the enchilada one.
I like the cartoon one.
I do like that as a... Even if it's not your complete personality, it is something that's pretty fun.
That's true.
To say, for me.
And I'll say, hey, howdy, hey. That'll be my big cartoon introduction.
Yeah, is that from a cartoon?
No, I made it
It's
up.
a little Fat Albert adjacent.
Like a knockoff Fat Albert.
Hey, howdy, hey, yeah.
Hey, howdy, hey, it's me, Thick Gilbert.
Thick Gilbert. Oh, man. I would definitely watch Thick Gilbert, especially because I like that show. You know, it's nostalgic for me, but I'm not gonna support Bill Cosby. We gotta talk about the new Tales from the Borderlands episode 3, Capital Pains.
Wow, we're already 3 episodes in. How time flies.
Yeah, time's just moved pretty fast on this whole Borderlands experience. We've now covered 8 of the 10 Borderlands episodes we're gonna do.
That's a whole season of Minecraft.
Oh, man. Man, you just said that in a way that like, physically... Sometimes you can feel facts entering your skull, and I definitely did that time.
It goes right into your veins.
Yeah, it made me realize for the first time, oh, I was thinking that Borderlands is going to be a long time, because it's 2 seasons across different companies and things. Even just 1 season of Minecraft is going to be a long time. Wow, I didn't think about that at all until right now. Huh.
Well, welcome to the real world, sucker.
Okay, yeah, so episode 3 of New Tales from the Borderlands, same release information, same credits information, because it was released as one package not too long ago, just in October of this year. We are recording this episode a little bit earlier than we normally do, because we normally record on the weekends, but this weekend is Christmas, so we are recording the week before Christmas, so if anything interesting happens, we don't know about it yet.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
Well, this year's been kind of big for just like, oh, apparently we have Telltale news that we should address. So I assume nothing the week of Christmas in 2022. I assume that it would be weird for new Telltale news to come up, but not impossible.
Not Telltale news, but on Christmas, they are putting the soundtracks to the Snowboard Kids games on Spotify, and I am excited for that.
Wow, that is you know what? You are the cartoons one.
I love Snowboard Kids. It's great.
Yeah. I've never played it.
It's fun. The first one's like, okay. Like, it's good, but 2. Oh, yeah.
So, how much mechanically does it differ from, I think, like a more sports-focused snowboarding game? Is it like a Mario Kart compared to a Forza of snowboarding?
Yeah, it's more Mario Karty. It's definitely a kart racer with snowboards.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Might play it. Might get around to it. Although, I have no way of doing it multiplayer. Is it a multiplayer?
You can play multiplayer. I mean, it has single player, but...
No, I mean, I have no way of doing it multiplayer because of my lack of friends.
Oh, that's a problem. There's no way to fix that one.
Okay, wow. Okay. Well, I'll just bypass that. Capital Pains. We haven't actually talked about how much we like it yet. We try to save that for the show. I
guess the show is starting.
On my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if I liked it as much as the first episode. No. Maybe. But I did, big improvement. I liked it enough.
I definitely did not like it as much as the first episode, which, as time passes, I just keep having that scene of Octavio in the first episode walking down the main street of the city, just like pointing to people, talking to people, and that vibe, if they really could have nailed like that vibe continuing, that's the game I want to play.
Yeah, you don't get that.
Yeah, we really just don't get that. And every Telltale game has like a vibe they put out in the first episode. Especially Tales from the Borderlands. The first Tales from the Borderlands had a vibe in the first episode where they're like, "Can we continue this?" Oh no, we will not. we will not continue this. But it's interesting, and I'm glad to have that first episode of things.
Yeah. You know what's one thing that kind of struck me in this episode? Even though I like it more than the last episode, I'm really not getting much chemistry between these characters. They all feel very awkward together.
Well, I'm getting. I think it's just Fran. It might just be Fran, because Anu and Octavio, I'm getting some stuff from.
I am a
some
little
sibling feelings.
A little. But yeah, it doesn't really feel like it kind of feels like they're trying to say, oh yeah, they're all warming up to each other. Fran's part of the group. They're all friends. They don't feel like friends to me.
Right. They really don't.
It feels like Fran. I will say Fran's better in this episode because she's not just killing everyone she sees. But like someone will just say one of their funny little quips and then the others just kind of stand there awkwardly or respond to it in a way where they're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen.
So I'm not feeling the love. You brought up the scene with Octavio and Louis. I bought that. I bought that these two are friends that are having a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
Here it's just it's not coming together. And I feel like I felt like the characters worked in the first episode of the first Tales from the Borderlands pretty well. Like, the two groups needed to learn to like and trust one another, but I think the two groups I got a lot out of. Reese and Vaughn and Sasha and Fiona. Mm-hmm. I could feel the friendship between these characters. Here, it just feels like awkward people put into a group together.
Well, I think that first Tales from the Borderlands episode is going to be an albatross around Gearbox's neck as they attempt to replicate the sort of just that ethereal quality that first season had, that it got so right.
Yeah.
That first episode where the first half is told from Reese's perspective, and then you find out why that was all bullshit because the second half is told from Fiona's perspective of how she was duping Reese. That was it was like filmed well. That's good filmic direction.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that video games very rarely can measure up to. Telltale was one of the companies that could, and that's, I think, their legacy. They got that aspect of storytelling done very well in a way that very few video games did. And this game, like that first episode, it had peaks. It had little peaks at it. I think that taco shop section in the first episode where Octavio's kind of got like a maybe girlfriend and a small man with bombs, and we love that. we love that.
It's great.
It was such an interesting dynamic. Those people have not come back.
Yeah, we saw them get captured in episode 2, and that's it.
Yeah,
I forgot all about them in this episode.
They weren't even really in episode 2. It was like a montage.
Yeah, it was right. Yeah.
In the meantime, they're getting captured.
Yeah,
as is Stapleface.
In the intro credits, yeah. Also, boy, that's a good saying. Albatross around the neck. Did you make that up?
No.
Oh.
No, I think that's just one of those sayings.
Albatross around the neck. I'm gonna have to start saying that one.
You want to look it up? You want to take a brief Google diversion? We do these.
I would love to.
Albatross.
These are the best parts of the episodes.
My neck. Idiom, a characteristic, possession, associate, or previous deed that hinders one's ability to succeed.
You had that right on the money.
Yeah, I try my best. I try my very best.
Good job. You know what's something else that's interesting? I was looking at the voice actors for this game,
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of surprised. It seemed like almost every character in this game, this is their first acting role, or only credited role. That, at least on behind the voice actors, maybe they've done more, but like almost every character, like Reese has had more, and surprisingly, one of the only other voice actors who had 2 roles is the voice of the badass superfan.
Love that. You do need a practiced voice actor for that character.
Yeah, it's such a big role. You need to know they can bring it.
So, okay. Yeah, I actually really like that for the main characters. It's kind of a Star Wars feel. You got to get an unknown Luke and Leia so the fans can not have this previous conception in their mind. Which I think maybe the first game should have done more, because that Patrick Warburton inclusion was cool. I don't hate his voice at all. It's such a good voice, but
it's just a little distracting.
It is quite distracting when I know, well, that's definitely Patrick Warburton not even doing any kind of voice. That's just his voice.
That's Joe Swanson himself.
That's just how he talks. That's just how that man talks. It's a little done up for emotion, but not any kind of dialect. That's just how that person talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Troy Baker as Reese.
He's not Reese in this one, but yeah.
Right, in the first
you
game.
mean in the first one.
Yeah. He, that's also kind of just his voice, but at least he's a voice actor as a voice actor. He's a voice actor's voice actor, and can make his character feel very unique without actually changing the timbre of his voice. So I thought that worked pretty well too. Also, I think with someone like that, a well-known voice actor, it works even if I don't, or even if I do recognize it works, because I don't really associate his real life physique. I don't have a mind's eye of what he looks like.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, maybe he's really, really tall.
Maybe he's like really tall, but like also really thin, like like a monster.
Maybe. Maybe. I think that we're procrastinating talking about the episode.
Let's get into the episode. I don't know why it's not like last episode. I liked it.
Yeah. So I think I did like it more. The writing just seemed immediately better. Like in the first scene.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but there's far less quips in this one.
Far less quips, a lot less quippy, a lot more to the point.
Yeah.
We're still getting ultra-violent Fran, which is fine.
Yeah, but it's dialed back at least.
It's dialed back a little bit because she's ultra-violent in a way that I would believe a person could be.
Yeah.
Versus, like,
let's literally
Octavio
kill
says
everyone.
anything, and then Fran goes, "Is that a way to kill someone?" Like, okay, come on, Fran.
We get it.
We get it. We get it. You're evil.
Him. Real cool.
Yeah, just from the get-go better. One thing that I am now wondering is, will I think the story is about something else every episode? Because I tried to get like a hand on what is this series about, and
I was thinking the same.
to find a stable handhold.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. It feels like they're just doing something different each time, which I guess is a fine way to do your story as long as it builds up to something. But it and I'm sure it will build up to something, but it doesn't feel like much right now, I guess.
No, not at all. Because it's like in the first episode, I thought the whole thing was just going to be about this war with Tediore.
Yeah.
That Tediore was on Atlas, and it was wrecking Fran's shop, and it was fighting against Octavio in the streets. It felt like a pretty well consolidated, all over the place goal. You got to defeat Tediore. And then we were like, okay, well, they're on this planet to find this thing. So now it's a treasure hunt to find the thing.
Yeah, and like Tediore was still kind of there, so their presence was still a part of the story. But in here, this episode, they don't like come up at all.
Yeah, they've completely lost the plot. They're starting a business. They're starting a business together where they make healing guns that can fire a glowy beam from a distance and heal you.
It doesn't feel like the stakes are very high, even if they are.
Yeah, like you don't deserve to be rich from this if you don't get your business done right. I guess that's fine. You won't die, probably.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting seeing, like, I don't know, doing a game that shows smaller stories or just like the average lives of average people, but I don't think that's necessarily what they're going for. It just kind of feels like, oh, this episode they're going on a TV show.
Yeah. In this episode, they've forgotten they're at war. And they also forgot that Anu was possessed a little bit, although it does come up a few times, does not matter.
Yeah.
They're just trying to start a business.
The whole time when I was thinking, you guys are going to go on TV. Well, does Anu know she's wanted at this point? I guess not. They never really talk about it. Okay, I was going to say, like, going on TV is probably not the best idea, but they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Anu actually knows until the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
That she's wanted. Because she's a... They try to catch her.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't even matter at all, either. It's not like people saw her on TV and were like, that's the girl, that's the person who's wanted.
Well, one person did.
Well, no, that happened late. She saw it on the TV at her place.
Oh, you mean like during... Okay. Yeah, you're right. So, context. Last episode, they got in and out of that vault. They killed the vault monster. Juniper the Ratch died, unfortunately. They got the crystal that the vault monster had that was healing itself with.
Yeah.
And the bit where it just completely possessed Anu, it doesn't seem to be doing that all the time anymore. Only sometimes.
Only occasionally.
They've found that it'll fix any injury as long as you touch it, like right after the injury.
Yeah.
So they affixed it to Anu's like teleportation device gun thing. And now it's a heal gun. It shoots a beam of healing from a distance. It can happen long distance. And that's great. That's a very cool invention. They think it's such a cool invention that they're going to forget that their whole thing is whack and go on TV. And they call it an echo cast because they can't say it's a TV show, even though they have TVs.
Just call it a TV show. My immersion wouldn't be broken if you just called it a TV show.
Because they have a TV that they call a cathode ray tube television.
Yeah.
By that phrase later in this episode, which was a gratuitous sort of call out to Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Just call it a future TV.
Yeah, this is later, but Anu finds a cathode ray tube television and says, "Oh, it's a cathode ray tube TV." And then the person who owns it says, "Yeah, I'm trying to go pro in Turbo Punch Sibling Skirmish." So that's
I get it.
Yeah, and I wanted to know who they mained, but they didn't say. They'd have to. I want to hear a weird, messed up, Borderlandsified version of the name Jigglypuff.
Yeah, come up with an entire roster, please. 70 plus characters.
Yeah, Hako. I play Hako.
I like
yeah?
Beef or Sutherland. I didn't make that up. I can't take the credit for that. It was just
well, it's interesting that I mean, I guess that's Snake, but it's not even the voice of Snake in Smash, right?
Yeah, it's just something from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, great. Beefer Sutherland's and Bob's Burgers. That's pretty
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we all love it.
How do you feel about this intro scene with them just shooting one another? I feel like it goes on a little long.
It definitely did.
It's like, I get it.
So first, Octavio shoots himself in the arm, and then grabs the crystal to test it. Anu's understandably freaked out. Fran doesn't have any reaction. Octavio immediately regrets it, but he grabs the crystal and he's all better, and he says he didn't learn anything, which is funny, I guess. And then Fran does it, and then they both do it like 3 more times. And yeah, nothing's gained from that additional like 5 minutes of doing it.
Yeah, I got it the first time. I get you're being funny.
Uh-huh.
You're doing one of your little jokes, but let's maybe move the story along.
In a movie with a bit more like fast-paced camera cutting and stuff, I could imagine this being a short like montage with maybe some music behind it of, oh, they're all just shooting each other in the face, and it's
right.
Crazy violent.
The joke is that they're having a good fun time killing one another and then healing. But the way it's done here is very slow.
Yeah, I just don't think you can do it in a video game, that kind of fast-paced camera work. They do some great camera work in this game. I think the cinematography of this game is one of its highest achievements.
I think they could have done it if it were the opening credit montage.
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
That would be a good place for it.
Yeah, I just didn't get much out of it. They do give the gun to Anu, who doesn't want to do it at all, and Anu can choose to shoot Fran or Octavio or Louis. And I was thinking, oh, this isn't going to work on Louis. I'll do that.
So you shot Louis?
I shot Louis.
How did that work? How did that play out?
Well, who'd you shoot?
I shot Octavio.
How'd it go?
It went fine. Well, so she shot him in the heart, and he made a big show of it. And Anu's freaking out. She's like, you told me to. What the fuck? And then he just immediately heals.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So you shoot Louis, and it doesn't work. The crystal doesn't work, and he's like fritzing a little bit. There's some sparks, and Louis like, "What? Why? And everyone gets really mad at Anu for like a second, and then Anu says, "If I promise to shoot a person and not a robot next time, do you forgive me? And can I have my skateboards back?" Because Louis says, -1,000,000 skateboards. I hated that. And then Louis says, "Yeah, you can have your skateboards back."
Oh, that's nice of him. What a pal.
It is nice of him, but I'm wondering if that actually did deduct me some skateboards, because at the end of the episode, I've gone down in skateboards since the last episode, and I feel like there was a lot, except for that one moment, there was a lot of pretty good collaboration between my team members.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that, because mine also went down, and I did nothing but good collaboration. I don't know how this skateboard score works, but it ain't impressing me.
Yeah, you know what? If I could, I'm wondering if I should see a plus skateboards or minus skateboards pop up on the screen whenever I do something, because I might feel like it's a bit more earned if the game could say, no, look at this. This was clearly bad of you. And at that point, I would say, okay, I'll put my hands up and say, you're right, game.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You would know when you're getting your skateboards and what you did to get them or have them taken away, rather than just arbitrarily just seeing like what they decided at the end. And like they already do that with money. They already have like your money meter go up. Just have skateboards go up. Yeah,
and you know that I, because I'm stupid, have a much greater attachment to that skateboard score than I do our money number. Because I'm not buying anything.
Yeah, I haven't bought a single thing.
I did check out some of the new costumes that are unlocked for you to buy at this point, though.
Oh, I didn't. Do you unlock more?
Yeah, there's more options to buy, and they're slightly more expensive. I could have bought all of them if I wanted to, but I didn't buy any of them. There's one that was very Hot Topic vampire looking,
Ooh.
And there's ones of those for Anu, Fran, and Octavio each. So I could
You
have
could
just
be a
been
team
like
of
this weird,
vampires.
yeah, I could be this team of vampires, this weird vampire team.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the idea of just all three going with this look.
I considered it, but I was also thinking, okay, I might have a Claptrap episode 5 moment where
Exactly.
I want to have the money at the end. Or also, it might be, it's honestly too much. I was looking at those costumes and I was thinking, I'm going to get distracted for sure. This is too much. Like all of their hair is just drooped over half of their face, like Pegasus and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, like, that's where I am. I'm not spending any of the money just in case there's something like that at the end, but at the same time, I feel like in the first Tales from the Borderlands, there was still, like, other things you could spend the money on.
Yeah.
Like, the masks, just things here and there that still made you want to get the money. And here, this game hands you money like candy. You can get it, like, everywhere.
Yeah, and there were a couple times where it was like, okay, Sasha needs to infiltrate Helios, so she needs to look like a Hyperion officer.
Yeah.
So that it was aesthetic still, but it was, it was at least narratively interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. They don't really ever push you toward changing your clothes, and as far as I can tell, there's nothing besides that to buy yet.
Yeah.
Well, what's additionally weird is that, okay, so in order to get funding for this thing, they go on a game show, and we'll talk about how that works. But at the end of it, they do get an investment of $1 million.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money, and they need to promise half of the profits for their device go to the mystery investor, who we don't know who it is yet. Although they have a delightful Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas kind of voice.
They sound like Jack McBrayer.
Who's that?
He is Fix-It Felix.
Oh, yeah. That's not the vibe I got. But that's interesting.
It sounds exactly like him, just pitched down. And I don't know if it's him. I couldn't find anything that said it was. But like his exact manner, the exact way he speaks and tone is like spot on. So if it's not him, it's a very good impression.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's going through a voice distorter.
Yeah.
But like it's southern, gentlemanly, excessively
like,
polite.
Thank you, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So they get $1 million. I didn't see that go into my actual money score.
Yeah, I didn't either, which is weird since in the first episode, that's how the insurance works with Fran.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't catch that, but I would believe it, yeah.
Yeah, in the first episode, if you get the claim, then it goes right into your money. But not here.
Huh.
Where's my $1 million?
Where's my flying car, Bruce? On Sink or Swim. That's the name of the show. They go on the show despite the fact that Octavio and Fran, who are the people that have heard of the show and want to do it, they've never seen it. Which is kind of funny. Introduces some stakes.
Yeah, they don't really think about it. They're just like, yeah, I never seen it. Let's do it. But it turns out not a great idea.
Yeah. It's like Shark Tank. It's like the show Shark Tank. Except if your pitch is not accepted, you get thrown into a shark tank.
A literal shark tank.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
What a good... I don't know if I'd watch it, but maybe I'd
I
consider
wouldn't.
it.
It's murder. I wouldn't.
Well,
Dustin, it's wild that you started to say that. I wouldn't watch it. It's murder.
Well, if I was in the world of Borderlands, where murder is just a regular thing and everyone's been so desensitized, I would probably consider watching it.
If I were in the world of Borderlands, I would not produce murder.
I would not sully my eyes with this show.
Yeah, I would be the change I'd want to see in the world, Dustin.
I'd turn up my nose and everyone else would say, what a snob.
So there's a lot of things that happen at this TV studio. Like outside, there's a guard who says his name is Michael Baxter. Or Matthew Baxter or something.
Marvin Baxter.
Marvin Baxter. I was close. And if there's one thing you can't do in this game, it's say your own name out loud, because Louis will shoot you in the face pretty fast.
Yeah, and he does. He does not, like, right after he says it, he's like, all right.
Yeah. Louis Louis does this, and then he reads off the reason he did that, because everyone in the party's like really surprised. And he says that someone had filed a grievance on this person because he stood on their lawn. And even Louis recognizes, oh, that was really frivolous. I immediately had to kill this person because there was a bounty, but wow. Am I a bad person?
I suck.
Yeah, so that it furthers our conversation that we've had via the last 2 episodes about Louis liking murder or not.
Yeah.
It seems like he's very able to recognize, at least in this time, which is it seems like the first time, that sometimes his murders aren't good.
Who would have guessed?
Yeah. Sometimes his murders aren't what he should have done.
Oops. Well, gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Well, that's kind of his attitude with it. He can offer, or he will offer, half of the bounty to the rest of the party. And Octavio has the chance to either accept it and say, like, okay, well, if we're getting the money anyway, I guess we'll use the money. But yeah, this was bad. Or to reject it and say that he has a little thing called integrity. What did you do?
I took it.
Okay, I didn't. How did that go?
Basically the way you said, Octavio's just like, look, not taking the money is not gonna bring this guy back.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's smart.
Yeah, that also just seemed more in line with his character. Mm-hmm. Like, he's never, like, even in the first episode, Octavio was saying, oh, I'm a nobody, I haven't even killed anyone yet. He never struck me as someone who's, like, super morally against people getting killed.
No, he does not seem to care that much.
So I figured taking the money would be more in character for him.
So I refused it, and Octavio says, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh, Louis. I have a little thing called integrity. Maybe you should learn some.
How does that go with Louis?
And Louis says, oh, okay. And then Octavio says, oh, but I was hoping I'd get, like, something better if I said no to it. And then Louis says, no, you have integrity.
Hey, got him.
Yeah, got him a little bit, but it is what I was trying to say, so it's weird that they played it like a joke on me.
Right.
Yeah.
I was playing by the rules.
Yeah, so Louis, distraught for the person that he killed, Marvin Baxter, takes his job guarding the studio. Which is, I guess, how the writers get Louis out of the party this time.
Yeah, we'll just have him stand at the door for a little bit.
Yeah, what's so weird about this is, like, if you don't want a killer robot in the party, don't write one.
Yeah. Just have him there. I want him to feel like part of the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we get rid of Louis this time?
Do you have to get him out of the way all the time?
Yeah, he could just... What would have been lost if you just had him be with the guys?
Yeah. I guess in this particular case, he could have, like, killed Finnegan, or like, killed the sharks or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the sharks had a bounty on him.
Can Louis not kill someone unless they have a bounty? Can he choose to kill someone?
I'm not sure. I feel like it... From what I gather, it would make more sense if he could only kill if it's in his programming, but then that programming makes it so if they have a bounty on him, he has to kill them.
It does seem that way.
He has no choice on both sides.
Because later he talks to Fran about it. And Fran... I had Fran say, look, it's complicated. You're not a good or a bad person, but you're clearly doing bad things, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you.
Yeah, I had her say that as well.
And he's just sort of wallowing in this, showing a lot of emotion for a killbot.
Yeah, really.
And just saying like, okay, you've surpassed what people expected of you, and you're doing a lot of crazy stuff, Fran. I think that you're very admirable, but I can't surpass my programming. Does that make me a bad person? And I think it just makes you not a person.
Yeah, it just makes you a robot.
Yeah, you're a great robot.
Yeah, good job.
I don't know how good of a person you are.
Yeah, that maybe if you had skin, I could judge a little better.
That's what makes humans different from animals. Skin.
It's all in the skin.
It's all in the skin. The soul is stored in the skin. The ancient Greeks used to say.
There's another part here I wanted to talk about just because it irked me a small bit. So in order to get in, Marvin Baxter is like, who sent you here? And the gag is that Octavio makes up a name. He says, Jiminy Jimerson. And just right after that comes out of his mouth, I thought, gee, I wonder how this joke is going to play out.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it? You can just see it coming a mile away. Oh, turns out there is a Jiminy Jimerson on the, who would have guessed?
Yeah, I believe the exact words that Marvin Baxter says are, Jiminy Jimerson. He knows I need these hours.
Yeah. For a game that's trying to be funny, maybe less cliche jokes, please.
Well, I mean, that is not the goal. That is clearly not the goal of what New
They're
Tales
long
from the Borderlands
past
is
that.
all about. Less cliched jokes, not in the repertoire of strategies they've got for this. Although it is
true.
Wild how much better it is than episode 2.
Oh, definitely. Like, I'm ragging on him for this one bad joke, but I will say this episode got one really big laugh from me at least.
Yeah, and I'm drawn toward thinking of other series where they let each installment in the series be directed and written by one specific person, and each one's a different person. So sometimes all those people are working together toward a common goal, and they can collaborate across the series, and it's very hard to do when each installment is so director driven. But other times, one person starts the series, and then the next person says, actually, no, I think it should be about this. And
now they're on a game show.
Yeah, and then on this one, they're like, oh, well, okay, it's a third different thing. Every episode is both different in how quippy it is, and just like what the story is.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, did you get these writers in a room ever? Did they collaborate? Or did they just, like, see the notes from the other writers and, like, I get it.
Yeah. And like, I feel like it works sometimes. Like, the Sam & Max games have an overarching story, but each episode still kind of has its own story going on.
Yeah.
But that works better for something like Sam & Max than what it feels like this game is going for.
Yeah, this game is like threading the needle between each episode having its own little scenario, like a Sam & Max, where this one's the game show one, and the last one was the vault fighting one, and the one before that was a street war. But then also having this longer, epic, serialized storyline.
Yeah.
Like the first Tales from the Borderlands. And yeah, I just don't think that's coming together, and that's probably, like, tonal things aside, that's probably my biggest complaint, where it just doesn't... I can't think of what this game is trying to do with itself.
Yeah, and it makes it hard to want to see where it's going.
Yeah.
Like, in the first Tales from the Borderlands, the whole time I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what's happening here. Like, each episode also still had its own goals for that episode, but it felt like it was all building up to the same place. Here, I don't know what to get attached to. Like, knowing, apparently we don't care about Tediore anymore. Now we gotta find a place for this business.
Yeah, and, like, I'm sure Susan Coldwell, because that's who Fran just hates continuously, right?
Right.
I guess she's going to come back and be the big bad of episode 5. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas in Tales from the Borderlands, I couldn't have guessed where it was going, but I did want to see where it was going because you had things like Vasquez not being that much of a problem after episode 3 because he was killed. And Valerie wasn't that much of a problem after episode 4. And then Handsome Jack seemed like the big bad, but then there was stuff after him too, and it all made sense. Each of those moments made a lot of sense and contributed toward a thematic point that they were making about Reese's relationship with the company he worked for.
Right. It was building on what came before, whereas in this one it feels like it's more just a lateral move in terms of plot. Instead of going up, it's going to the left or right. Yeah.
And it's definitely a lot more just like, hey, you like the world of Borderlands, but Borderlands is a shooter game. What if you had this opportunity just to be in it more? And I bet it is pretty great for that demographic. I think that isn't us. I think we'd want to see a more full storyline that is worthwhile in and of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep thinking about The Walking Dead Season 2, where I thought it really wasn't going anywhere until episode 5. And then the whole thing made a lot more sense in retrospect. The whole thing was elevated because of what they were proving they were working toward the whole time.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to get that here?
No. I mean, we can. It's possible.
Yeah.
But I haven't been given reason to think so.
Yeah, exactly. But who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of why Walking Dead Season 1 is seen as such a perfect encapsulation of this formula and kind of a perfect game within the formula. Because it was great at first, it was great in the middle, and then at the end it did recontextualize everything, but it was great in a thirdly different way.
Yeah.
So you were never
totally
waiting
agree.
on something and you were never falling off something. It was just good the whole time.
Yeah, totally agreed. Although, something else I'll say, I don't even necessarily feel like this... Like, it's hard for me to say, because I haven't played the other Borderlands games. I don't necessarily feel like I'm getting what Borderlands is about, like the world, from this, either.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different vibe than the first Tales. Promethea is a very different planet than Pandora.
Yeah, which is fine, but I don't know. It feels... Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't have the wherewithal to be saying it since I haven't played any more of the series. I can't say if this is what Borderlands is or not, but if you asked me if this painted a clear picture of what the series was, I don't think I'd say yes.
The series, no. And I think the original Tales from the Borderlands probably does a better job at that. But the world, the expanded world of Borderlands, I'd say probably, yeah. I actually like Pandora a lot more as a setting than... I like Promethea a lot more as a setting than Pandora. I think the story they told on Pandora is better. That Telltale told on Pandora is better than what Gearbox is doing now on Promethea. But this... Hey Arnold streetwise thing, I'm into it. I
what
like
a
that.
Good descriptor. I think I actually prefer Pandora over Promethea, but I like Promethea enough. I like that it is different.
Yeah, it's very different. Just having an urban environment at all is not something that existed that much on Pandora. So that's cool, and I'm into it. We see a guy named Pierre Palantine.
How do you feel about this guy?
Well, he's a character for sure.
he's definitely one of the characters.
He's got a very effeminate voice. I've written here that he looks a lot like a Texas Hold'em character.
Ooh. Now that's a pull. That's interesting. Texas Hold'em never came to mind, but I could totally see it now.
Yeah, especially weird because, this is not the studio that references Texas Hold'em all the time. That's the other one. That's the old boys.
He's like the long lost relative of was it Boris Krinkle?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some Krinkelian features.
I like that. That's my favorite thing you've ever said.
Oh, I tried to do that every episode. Yeah, so he's got this little ball that does something, and that's his invention. He won't tell you what it does. He asks you to tell him what your thing does, but
he will definitely not.
Tell you what his thing does. And in order to make Anu feel better, I had Octavio hack it.
Yeah, I also had him hack it.
I think maybe that just happens.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's a choice or not. I think it's just what the story needs.
Yeah, so Octavio hacks it with a hacking minigame that is so clever. And
yeah, it's really hard.
You mash A lot. And then you watch him do sink or swim, and this is how you find out that if your invention does not pass, you get thrown in the shark tank. Because his thing doesn't work because Octavio hacked it. And then he just gets torn asunder by sharks. Bloody
just
water.
Absolutely eviscerated.
Yeah. This game is, it'll kill people.
High stakes.
High stakes all the time. And people are fine with this being a show.
Yeah, the audience is huge.
Yeah, the audience is huge, and that at some point in the past, the audience died from some attack of some sort, and then just more people came the next day.
Yeah, they're like, well, I'm not going to miss the next one.
Yeah, I know my brother died yesterday here, but I'm going to watch it today. What are the odds that it happens 2 days in a row?
The game is hosted by Finnegan W. Triton, and I love his splash card for his name because it says he's a real stinker.
Yeah. Finnegan Wake is a book. I don't know what it is about. I bet it's aquatic in nature.
Yeah, probably. Here's a question for you, Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
So Anu's getting all nervous about going out there. She doesn't know what to do. What do you tell her to do to relax?
To relax? I don't remember.
Well, she asks Octavio for advice. And
I have Octavio tell her that she needs to get really personal with the host.
Ooh, okay. I'm glad because I said something different and it led to my biggest laugh in the episode.
What'd you say?
Well, first tell me how it played out with yours.
Okay, so Anu says something to the effect of the host isn't gonna want to talk about their life, and then Octavio says, "Oh no, yes he will, because no one has ever asked him about that on the stage." So when Anu comes to the stage later in the episode, she goes, "How's your dying mother?" Because she saw a magazine that said something about that in the green room, and Finnegan says, "She's good. She's comfortable." And then they move on.
That's good.
Yeah. What's your one?
So I had Octavio tell her to just picture everyone naked, and Anu thinks this is great advice. So when she's out there on top of the tank, she says to herself, "Okay, just imagine everyone naked," and then she yells out to him, to Finnegan. She yells, "Hey, nice dick!"
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's just like, okay. So they just kind of move on.
Did it seem sarcastic, or did she actually think it's nice?
It's hard to tell just because she's so awkward. The tone in her voice, it could have been either way. But I just like her screaming that in front of a gigantic arena of people.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Wow, I didn't expect that was under the covers of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think whatever Octavio tells Anu to do does not work.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a good one. There were 4 options.
Yeah, I mean, it's we said it last episode, maybe there's just a right one you're supposed to pick.
Yeah, you know what, with the skateboard score thing, I've never felt like there is a right or wrong way to see how it all goes down in The Walking Dead. There's ways that make certain characters be dead or not, and you sort of internalize that as right. But you can also say, hey man, that guy had to die, and then rationalize it to yourself that way. In this, it really does seem like I'm being graded in a way that feels much more like homework than any video game I've ever played before.
Yeah.
And I've played some jumpstart first grade PC games from the 1990s that actually wanted me to do math. This feels like more homework than that.
It feels like you're being evaluated, like you pick a nice dick, and the person behind the window is just like,
ooh, she should not have said that. I'm taking 5% off.
That's gonna lose her a skateboard.
So Anu's pitch does not get accepted. She gets thrown in the water tank, but then Fran jumps in, and you can't see them fight, but Fran apparently, as narrated by Octavio, just punches these sharks to death.
I thought this gag worked. I thought this was funny.
I thought it worked, but like it's the 40th time we've seen this, where like they're trying to animate something that would be too expensive or hardcore to animate, so they just have someone narrate what happens outside. I've seen it in Wet Hot American Summer. I've seen it in Monkey Island. I've seen it all over the place.
Yeah,
in those 2 places.
I guess that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of those classics that just works, but yeah, I mean, it's in a game like this, I was really hoping for them to pull some unique ideas.
Yeah, the reason I think it worked is because you're still putting in the button inputs for Fran, so you're not seeing it, but you're still doing it. I thought that at least added a little bit of a clever wrinkle to it.
Yeah, well, they do at one point, like, show you another shot of the tank, but then Fran's not fighting them. She's just sort of swimming toward Anu. And, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird, because, so at first I thought, like, nothing was happening in the water, but Octavio was just embellishing it for the crowd. But then, no, we see the blood rise up out of the water, so... Little confusing.
Yeah, no, it definitely is happening. Although most of that blood could be from the fact that Anu's leg gets bitten off.
That's true. And boy, I think this might be the closest it comes to being a Telltale game, because we do not get to see that. Lost. Because we don't get to see the animation of the limb reattaching.
Oh, yeah, true.
They just move the camera so they conveniently don't have to show it.
That is a Telltale. You know, it's weird because they didn't show the entire shark fight, and you're like, yeah, funny. And then they don't show the leg reattaching, and then you're like, should have shown it.
I don't get to see any of this.
Yeah, I guess that's the hand loss of this series.
I'm glad we got it out of the way early.
This time the hand is a foot. It's because it's Gearbox and not Telltale. They have to do it a little differently.
We just thought we'd put our own little spin on it.
So they use the heel gun on her stump leg, and it grows back.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
I was worried. I was worried it wasn't going to work.
They really took their time before using the gun, though. They like have a little conversation about... Octavio says that Anu's pitch was good, and like they have a moment. But
yeah, just to attach the leg. Well, the joke is that they don't realize that they should use it. Like Octavio's thinking like, another, if only there was another way. And he has the gun in his hand, and he's just like, oh, Lordy Lou, what can we do?
Yeah, but like it's so frustrating as the player, like, hey man, I know what is going to happen. Just it's funny, but it's taking time. And I need to leave.
Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot in this game, don't it?
Yeah, it's like they took that scene from Original Tales where Sasha's dying, but then the time rewinder thing can fix her. They took that and they made like every scene in this game that where you know what's gonna happen, but that was like emotionally kind of earned a little bit, and that was the end of the thing. They only did it once.
Yeah, I wanted Sasha to live. Like, even if it's kind of obvious where it's going, I was like, please go in that direction.
Yeah, I kind of wanted Anu to lose a foot and get a cool rocket leg.
Yeah, they were talking about it after, and it's like, boy, wouldn't that have been cool? Oh, well.
Yeah, imagine you can write your own fan fiction where that does happen. There's a lot of off-ramps in this game for, it would be cool, but we're going to do it not that. So you can write your own fan fiction.
That could have set up some stakes, too, for this healing gun. Like, it's one thing to heal a wound in someone, but it's another to, like, if something's totally detached from the person. Mm-hmm. Set some rules for this thing. Rather than just being it'll heal everything. But that's not what they did.
Well, they kind of have some stakes, because when they do that, she becomes possessed again, and she starts muttering demonic stuff, and
right.
But then it passes really fast, and it's not a problem.
Yeah, and the thing about that is that was set up in the last episode with Anu, but that didn't happen with the other two when they were shooting the shit out of each other earlier.
Yeah, and it didn't happen with Anu earlier when she cut her hand. And tried to heal it.
Yeah, so who knows? Yeah. Who knows what the rules of this is?
Yeah, maybe it's just because it was such a big wound to lose an entire leg from the knee down that she had to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, who cares?
So they get the investment. They leave the show. They go back to reorganize at the Frogurt shop, and they realize they need 3 things, and it's 1 job per person, which is very video game convenient.
Well, kinda. Not so much in this episode.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because they set it up where they decide Fran is in charge of staffing. Octavio's in charge of finding a new headquarters because they can't use the Frogurt shop anymore. Mm. And Anu is in charge of finding testing material. And I thought, 3 more things. Well, that'll be this episode. But really, they only do Anu's part.
Yeah,
in this episode.
and it doesn't even get to conclude. The episode stops in the middle of it.
Yeah. And by the way, this episode's length was back to like a regular 2 hours, you think?
Yeah, it didn't feel like super... It still felt a little short to me, but it didn't feel as short as last time.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the buck's gotta stop, because we know from howlongtoplay.com that this game, all 5 episodes from beginning to end, takes about 10.5 hours, which is an average of like 2 and some change hours per episode, which would be super normal. But we're seeing short episodes, at least for these first 3, and especially number 2 is only like 1 hour. So we're really banking up some really long last 2 episodes here.
Yeah, unless they were just really bad at it.
How can you be bad at this? It goes, and then you can pick the dialogue wrong, but it won't be longer because of that.
Maybe they fell asleep at one of the parts when you're walking around.
Yeah, maybe they paused it and waited and then decided to call that part of their time.
Well, I gotta tell the truth. I can't just cut that out.
Well, I'm pausing all the time when I play these games to write notes.
Yeah.
So it's strange when like an episode goes by faster for me than I expect it to, because I should be taking longer to take these notes.
Yeah, maybe the last episode will just be really long. Maybe
it could be.
I mean, if you're playing them all at once, like intended,
yeah,
I would assume, maybe they just didn't feel the need to balance the episodes out. So you can just get like a 1 hour long episode, and then the last one, we can just put everything in that.
Just 4.5 hours at the end.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like we have talked about that possibility where because it's just one retail product. These are more like levels than episodes, and they don't really need to be divided in episodes in any particular way. But with this one, I thought number 3 was going to be the long one, because they already did the whole talk show, which took a long time, or the game show. And then they each had a job for each of the characters. But yeah, they only do like half of Anu's one, and then they don't do the other 2 until next time.
That's a strange way to do it. Like, why not? If that's how you're gonna do it, why not just end it after the game show? Since I feel like that's kind of the peak of what's interesting in this episode. Use this episode to build up to the game show and have that be the big final climax.
I mean, that would have been really long. Or really short. Really short.
No, well, I'm saying, like, have more before the game show, maybe. And then have the game show end the episode after other stuff. I don't know how they could do it, but it felt weird for that to be, like, the big part, and then have, like, a little more that's not that much afterwards.
Yeah, especially because, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, near the end, you have a little side cutscene of Octavio explaining that he's found a new headquarters, so like he's done his part off screen.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess I don't get to do that part. Although Fran has said that she's going to go like interview applicants. I hope that is part of the gameplay. I want to interview applicants in a Telltale game. That sounds kind of fun.
It kind of reminds me of at the beginning of Battletoads 2020. When they're just doing menial jobs. Yeah.
Well, the applicant interviewing, I think, could be kind of interesting in a dialogue-based thing. Especially because you're doing it from the opposite side, where you don't have to pick the right choices to get a job. You need to pick the right choices to find out stuff about your applicants.
Right, you choose what questions to ask them.
Yeah. Because if you choose a murderer, you'll get a low skateboard score.
You know what's something else I liked about this? I like what they're doing with Fran and Louie.
Okay.
I just like the two interacting together, because Fran very much did not like Louie at first, and now Louie is kind of... He's getting more out of Fran. He's like, I'm feeling very close to you after this conversation on my morality.
Yeah.
And so he sticks around with Fran. That's a relationship I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, sure. I think it's better than Fran with either of the siblings.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't. I wish just all of them worked.
By the way, at one point, someone says they don't look at all like each other, and they say that they were adopted.
Right, yeah, Octavio's adopted.
Except they totally look exactly like each other.
Yeah, I don't see why they thought they didn't look alike.
Like, they've got the same, like, wrinkles. The same wrinkle pattern, and the same skin tone, and the same, like, eyebrow angle. Mm-hmm. They definitely look alike.
Yeah, I didn't... When the game started, I wasn't like, oh, they're related, but they look so different.
No, I was actually... I had the active thought of, oh, wow, they did a really good job of making these people look like siblings, but not, like, just copy the face.
And then the game's like, no, they're not actually.
I guess.
You were stupid for thinking that.
Yeah. I thought they looked really siblingish, and I guess they're adopted.
Man, this game's throwing all sorts of twists and turns our way.
Yeah. I guess you shouldn't... The moral is that you shouldn't assume someone's not adopted, even if they look very much like a blood relative.
Yeah, even if they look very similar to one another and tell you they are brother and sister.
Yeah. You can't just make assumptions willy-nilly like that. So...
You know, one thing about Louie...
Yeah.
I like Louie. I like Louie enough. He's probably one of the characters I like the most from this. Even then, like, I wrote in my notes, I miss Gortys and Loaderbot.
I don't that much.
I love them. I love Gortys and Loaderbot. I like them more. I thought they were fun. I liked
the story that they did with them, but I don't need to have them around all the time.
Do you think you'd get sick of them fast?
Yeah, I think that they were very well paced. They got to the end of what I wanted out of them.
I get you. I just thought they were more enjoyable, but I like Louie enough. I want to see where he goes in life.
Yeah. I think that Louis, just having a more active personality than either of those two people is for me good. I like this character. I want to see where it goes. Although I feel very sure of where it goes. He's going to try to kill Anu.
Oh no!
I mean,
because she's wanted?
Yeah.
Ooh, hoo. I could see that.
Yeah, and they had this Marvin Baxter moment in this episode for Louis to start really thinking about, like, maybe I shouldn't be so willy-nilly to give in to my programming right before he has to do it to Anu.
Right.
So that'll happen either in the next episode or the last episode. If it's the last episode, they're going to kill Susan Coldwell early, and then they have to escape from Louis, and then Louis has to, like, fight against his own urges.
You know what? It seems so obvious when you say it. It never once occurred to me that could be what it's building up to. But yeah, when it's all laid out like that, it's now I feel dumb for not seeing it.
Yeah, I just as soon as Susan Coldwell in like the in the montage, she had found Anu's name tag in the vault, or the TUR people did.
Yeah.
When she did that,
right.
And she put out she flipped her computer screen around to show that she had put out a bounty on Anu.
Right.
As soon as she did that, I realized that Louis was going to kill Anu, or try to, pretty soon.
You know who's a robot I don't miss is Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy shows up exactly the amount of time I want to see him to the game's credit.
Yeah, one gag per episode that lasts about 3 seconds.
Yeah. Like in the opening montage, I think it was the montage last episode too, where we saw him. The team puts their hands together to, like, go team, do that thing, and then there's 5 hands, and then they look over at the 5th one that just showed up, and it's Timmy, and then Timmy blinks out of existence because Timmy's just teleporting around space-time, I guess.
Yeah. Timmy's just not an endearing character.
Timmy was not an endearing character in episode 1.
Yeah.
I think it is a very good character to just show up for 3 seconds and leave. That's great.
It's a very good character to get rid of.
I'm not saying that as facetiously as you are. I like Timmy to show up for 3 seconds and leave. I think that's a good use of the character.
Okay, I'll let you have it.
So then the last bit, like 20-minute or so chunk of the episode is Anu goes to Meridian City Morgue, and she needs a corpse to do testing on for healing stuff, which doesn't make sense to me because I don't think they've even tried to heal a dead body.
Yeah, that seems like it would just not work.
Well, I guess that's why she's testing. It's a research material, I guess.
Right. Well, it seems like they did a lot of testing at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, not on a dead guy, though.
Yeah.
That's an unknown.
It feels very weird having this little bit just kind of tacked on at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not bad. Nothing about this section is, like, bad at all, but it's just the way it's done makes it feel very weirdly placed.
Yeah, because they don't finish up this moment. They leave it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But Anu goes into the morgue. She finds the Keeper of the Dead, the mortician, who's just a crazed, but then, like, it turns out she's less crazed than it seems that she is. But not that much less crazed.
Yeah. She put her kids through college, or she's trying to.
She's just trying to put her kids through college, and she's like, when I said you could see my wares, I wasn't talking about you buying a body. I'm just selling candles.
I make candles.
But then you look at the candles, and you can tell that they're made of human fat.
Yeah.
So there's that.
She's not that great.
No, she's not that great. But she sees Anu's bounty advertised on television. Anu doesn't see that she sees that. She goes into the back room and says, like, oh, okay, I'll just get you a body real quick. You're fine. And then later on, she gets Anu to go back in the back room, shows Anu a coffin, and says it's right in here. And then there's nothing in the coffin, and she pushes Anu in, and Anu is locked in a coffin now.
That seems like something Anu could have just seen without going inside the coffin.
Yeah.
She should have stayed back and said, "There's nothing in that coffin."
Yeah, why are you pushing me?
I don't need to take a closer look.
Yeah, I can withstand being pushed a little bit.
Yeah, even if there was something like very small in here that I couldn't see, that's not what I'm here for or want.
Yeah, no, what I want is a whole dead body, I guess.
And I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, so let's go back in time to before the game show.
Ooh.
Anu gets to look around the Frogurt shop to see if she has enough, like, in the wreckage she can find parts from Fran's machinery that she can use on the heal gun. You didn't do this part.
Well, I did look around, but I apparently
not the part
did
I'm about
not.
To say.
Yeah, I apparently did not look hard enough.
If you go in the freezer, in the back room, well, the back room is not the freezer. There is a freezer in the back room, and if you click on it, Anu says, "Tons of interesting parts can be found in a freezer," and then she opens it, and then the superfan jumps out and says, "And me." So the superfan, if you remember, audience, is the Tedior grunt from last episode who plays Vaultlanders with you.
Yeah. Interesting way to handle Vaultlanders, considering in the first episode we just found them.
Yeah, in the first episode we just found them. Well, one of them was given to us by Fwang, and then the other two we were supposed to find, although we didn't find both of them.
Yeah. And then in the second episode, you fight the superfan, and you get the one Vault Hunter in the episode, which is fine. If it's fine for a one-time thing, but then in this episode, that's just how you get both of them.
Yeah, in this episode, there's 2 Vaultlanders, which is still less than the first episode. There's so many blanks on the Vaultlander collection scene. In one of the next 2 episodes, we're gonna get like 5 or 6 at once.
Yeah.
You fight this guy. This guy has Vasquez from Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, I missed Vasquez. I wish I didn't. I know that guy.
Yeah, so Vaultlanders is still dumb. Playing it is not more advanced with more advanced Vaultlanders.
Yeah, when I did the second Vaultlander battle, I was thinking, oh, I guess I don't need to get better Vaultlanders. I can just win every time with this one.
Yeah, Vasquez heals a little bit every time he hits the other person. So I'm just going to use Vasquez from forever. And even if I do get hit once, which I have yet to got hit, I've played 3 times across the last 2 episodes, yet to be hit once.
Yeah, same. I was going to say, healing is a great power, but it would be a lot greater if you would actually get hit. If you ever needed it.
Yeah. So you beat the superfan and Anu says, "Okay, I understand the appeal now." And the superfan goes, "Do you want to live with me in this fridge?" And Anu says, "No." And then she helps him back into the fridge and then closes it on him.
I like that. I wish I got that. I'm loving this badass superfan guy.
Yeah. If you ask him why he only shows up in the cold fridge places, he goes, "It's free air conditioning."
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I wonder if this is leading toward the reveal that he's like some known cold-based like Borderlands character.
Oh, that would be neat. Maybe they can get a little clever with him.
Because they only show his helmet.
Yeah. Vaultlanders is very stupid. It's not that fun, but no. I like seeing this guy show up.
Like, yeah. In where you
as a character, I like him. Yeah. Speaking of where you don't expect him, you find him the second time in the Keeper of the Dead's morgue, just in one of the lockers.
This was very surprising to me because I definitely didn't think we'd get 2 of him in one episode.
Yeah, that's why it seems very weird to me. Like, is this just how you get Vaultlanders figurines now? It seems weird to change how it happens.
Well, okay, so in whatever episode they're going to have 5 or 6 at once in the next 2 episodes, because they have to, there's no way that it's going to be 5 appearances of Superfan that they need to animate and do dialogue for.
Yeah, I'm fine with it if it is.
They have to mix it together with just finding them around.
Yeah, it's just weird because I feel like you could have done that in last episode and this episode too, just mix it up. Like, you can still have the Superfan battles, but have it so you still, like, find, like, 1 or 2 of them just around.
You know what's interesting about this game that is blowing my mind a little bit?
What?
And I think it's this conversation that has finally made me realize it. It's that games, since time immemorial, video games have had very specific ways they normally go about saving time and effort. You know, Super Mario Brothers, the bushes are the clouds and stuff like that. You save on memory on the cartridge, you save on time spent drawing the bushes, you save on a lot of stuff by reusing assets. In modern 3D games, that usually means reducing the number of things that need unique animations, because animations are a very time expensive part of the process.
Right.
Like, more so than even modeling. Animating those models is huge. That's a big,
making them move around.
Yeah. Especially in a game like this, a narrative heavy game where you're not seeing a lot of repeated animations because you're basically watching it as a movie. And this game does not give me any sense of when that normally happens in other games. Like, I don't see repeated animations. I don't see shortcuts. I like the shark fight thing. Yeah, that's a shortcut. But I could totally imagine them animating a shark fight. They've done weirder stuff. The fight with the Devourer in the last episode.
Yeah.
That felt more animation significant than I bet a shark fight would be.
You could have just fought sharks.
You could just find these Vaultlanders around, and then it could launch into you could even launch into a game of Vaultlanders when you find the Vaultlander. But for them to do all this extra animation of making the badass Superfan crawl out of tiny places, it's everywhere in this game. It's just so high budge. They really don't skimp. But then it doesn't, that feeling doesn't line up with like how professional the writing is or other aspects of the game feel.
Right. They just put all their money into the Superfan.
Yeah, I mean, but like, if it's not the Superfan, it's like animating the Keeper or writing new dialogue for like all the scannable stuff, or how on like most of the dialogue trees, there's 4 very different options you can choose all the time that have a lot more VO, a lot more animation, a lot more scripting just for each option. They don't skimp anywhere on this game, and it feels so AAA in spite of that, because Telltale didn't either, and that's kind of like what made them feel like, ooh, you're not passing up opportunities here, you're really just doing it. But when Telltale did it, they were making these games that were like, okay, Telltale games are a little glitchy, and they're a little like not to the same animation standard as most of the other AAA games in the industry. They don't look quite as like pretty and high quality and HD and everything.
You could usually feel the budget.
You could definitely usually feel the budget on a Walking Dead, but still be very impressed by like, wow, look at how much narrative branching Walking Dead has. Even though we make fun of it sometimes for like, you can technically save Nick in season 2 of The Walking Dead, but then he's just gonna fall asleep for the entire next episode. Even if we make fun of it, that's still huge. That's a big difference.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish some of that carried over into the writing more, but I agree. I haven't had any glitches in this game so far.
Yeah, this game, more than anything, I think the thing that this game does that is just so nice and great is it's so generous. It's so generous with how much content you're going to give the player. You're never going to get stuck in a player created situation where you're like, oh, well, I definitely should have done the other thing because this doesn't feel as fulfilling. You'll never feel that way. If it's not fulfilling, it's not fulfilling all over the place. It might just feel that like there's not much to it, but every place you go is fully realized. It's fully explained. Like, yeah, we will have a brief diversion into something called Sink or Swim, where we're going to animate a full stadium of people and have a Shark Tank and like all these weird visual effects and the camera cuts. All of these camera cuts are authored manually by hand. It's impressive. It's so generous. It's such a generous game. But like, why have this be that?
Yeah, it's weird because it almost makes me feel bad complaining about the bad parts, because you're right, they put a lot into everything else, but unfortunately it's great to have all the stuff you said, like the environments are cool, no glitches, but when the story is not gripping me, and that's the big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It really hurts it in a way that I feel like all of the effort they put into the other stuff, if they didn't put as much effort into them, it wouldn't hurt it as much, I think, as the writing does.
Yeah. I think that's probably true. Like, I keep thinking back to last episode, and just to remind you the feeling of last episode, just put yourself in the mind shoes of your brain feet when they were walking down that scene with Fran being separated from the party for a second because of crawling through the crack in the wall. And then less than 1 minute later, she comes back and they're like, Fran! And she goes, did you miss me?
You know what's so funny about last episode? We already talked about it a little bit, but I'll say it here on the show. So our friend Adam really liked the episode, and which is fine, you know.
It's fine, but bewildering.
Yeah, exactly. But after we got done recording the episode, he and I were discussing it, and I got more angry about the episode than I did on the show. Yeah. Like, on the show, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of crummy, but what are you going to do?
Well, and to be fair, you do have a pattern of doing that on this show. You'll hate it while playing it, and we'll even talk about it like right before we press record, and then we press record, and you're like, it's not that bad.
No, it's great. I love CSI. No, but then just like actually discussing it more with Adam we were driving to get some food, and in the car I was just talking about it, and the more I talked about it, the more I was like, fuck this. Fuck this episode.
Yeah. What new things stood out to you as you were sort of realizing your disdain for it?
Well, it wasn't new. It was just talking about the stuff we already talked about, but it was just getting to me more, like that exact scene with Fran.
Yeah.
That exact scene where they're like, oh, we'll leave Fran behind, and then immediately comes back, and we're supposed to be emotionally affected by it. I was like, that sucks! Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Enough of this!
Yeah, no, it did. It was a bad one.
This episode doesn't give me this episode's kind of a mixed bag, but it is a lot better. There's nothing in this episode that I would get super angry with.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any individual things that hurt me nearly as bad as a lot of the pain points in the last episode.
Yeah.
And I like where this episode leaves off the characters. I think that Louie's going through some potentially interesting character growth. Fran is going to go interview some people. That could be fun, depending on how they do that. Octavio has just done something right, which is good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
He's found a headquarters he likes. We didn't see it, but I guess we kind of did see it, but it didn't mean anything to me because it was just a street I haven't seen.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't get to, like, do any gameplay there.
Yeah, and then Anu needs to punch her way out of this coffin. Oh, okay, hang on. I do want to talk about that.
Okay.
So Anu turns on her visor thing that talks to her, the Echo Eye.
Your goggles.
The goggles, yeah. And then it starts talking to her verbally. And she's like, wait, you can talk now out loud? When did you do that? And it says that Octavio hacked it to let it talk. And Anu goes, oh, that was sweet of him. Which is such a weird reaction to that.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's just always been able to talk out loud, but now it does. Because
yeah,
it was
it
like,
just
hacked to be allowed to.
It just didn't have anything to say before.
So the the goggles recommend that Anu punch the door of the coffin 5,000 times at standard strength, and that will allow her to break through the coffin. It just needs to be punched 5,000 times, and then you can get out.
Yeah, almost there.
Yeah, this is a reference to the movie Kill Bill.
I haven't seen Kill Bill, but I kind of wanted to at one point.
You should want to again, and then do it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. No, I love Kill Bill. Kill Bill's great. And it has Michael Madsen from season 2 of The Walking Dead in it.
Ooh. We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, we do. I just really like Kill Bill a lot. Kill Bill is a 2-part movie.
Right,
and the cliffhanger between the 2 parts of the movie is that the main character of the movie gets stuck in a coffin and buried underground in the coffin. And there is some coffin punching. Sorry to spoil that for you, but there. No,
I knew that part. Punching. I've seen my dad watch that specific part.
Just that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, my dad was watching the movie, but then I came out and it was on that part when he was watching it. I
think you'd love Kill Bill. I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah, I should sit down and watch him.
Yeah. It kind of felt, when Anu does it though, it doesn't feel like an homage. It doesn't feel like that much of a reference.
Right.
Like, the Sink or Swim is a reference to Shark Tank. And the Metal Gear Solid thing from the last episode. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, I remember all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly an homage. They do the UI on the screen at the same point. This almost feels like they're trying to play it off as their own idea.
Yeah.
In a way that I commented on them doing that before. What did I say that about? It was the first episode, I think.
Oh shit, that was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I said they borrowed something. I don't remember what they borrowed. Yeah, I might have to go back and I'm not going to listen to that episode again.
Let us know, listeners.
Yeah, if you do that, let me know, because I think that this team seems to like borrowing narrative ideas a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. We do so much borrowing subconsciously. Why do it consciously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think would have helped this episode end a little better? So we have this tiny little bit with Anu getting trapped in the coffin. I feel like if you just, even if you don't want to do like a whole section where everyone is doing something in each of their little bits where they're at in this part of the story, just have this sort of thing happen to all three. Have something happen.
They all get
plays
trapped
them
in
a little
coffins.
bit. Yeah, all of them get trapped in coffins, metaphorically. As in, something happens to interrupt each one's what they're doing. I feel like that would at least give us a little more. It's weird that it's only Anu.
Yeah, because it's a weird imbalance, because Anu is trapped and bad. Octavio is explicitly doing fine. He just found the HQ.
Yeah.
Fran is not covered. We don't see Fran doing.
Yeah, we don't see anything.
Hey, how much money you want to bet that episode 4 opens with mashing the A button to punch the coffin open?
I'm not going to bet any money because I think it won't be the A button.
Oh, you think it won't be the A button to punch?
I think it's gonna... No, because during the shark fight, it was all X's.
Oh, you know what? It could be the X button to punch.
Could be the X button.
Well...
I'm not putting money down on that A button.
You want to jump into our segments and then close off this episode?
I would love nothing more than to be done.
Okay.
And
Golden moment.
I mean that in the best way.
Yeah, no, I like talking to you, but I'm feeling it. I think I'm feeling the sun's coming up.
It's been a pretty long episode. Golden moment, I just like the whole pitch. I like the sink or swim. I thought that was a fun... I said it before, I thought this should have just been, like, the ending. Or at least the episode should have been restructured in a way where they do some other stuff before the pitch, and then the pitch is the big climax of the episode. Just because it feels like anything after... It just feels like a hangnail, kind of.
Sure.
It feels like we got a little bit of the next episode. But yeah, I thought the whole pitch was fun. It had the nice dick line.
Okay, yeah. For you, I think it is more of a golden moment than for me because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made a good impression with that. I was like, oh, okay, let's see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
What's your golden moment?
I've written down that just seeing sort of the title card for the morgue. They show the building and it's just so like graveyardy, zombie ate my neighbors-y, green and decayed and Halloweeny.
That was really good. You have like the skulls.
Yeah. Just the entrance to the morgue, not the whole morgue scene. I don't like that as much. I mean, it's fine. But,
yeah, I thought it was still it worked fine, but yeah, I totally get
specifically that opening shot of
it's very striking.
Yeah, it's like on a hill with a wrought iron fence around it.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I wouldn't have guessed that, but what a great pull.
Yeah, my second choice would have just been all the freezers that the superfan climbs out of.
Superman.
The Superman is always trying to chill out in his fortress of solitude.
Yeah, you know what? As nothing as Vaultlander battles are, I like seeing this guy show up. I didn't think we would ever see him again after episode 2, and now we get him twice?
Yeah, and I think we're going to see him a lot. Like, a lot.
Yeah, I'm down. I like that he's a recurring character.
Yeah, I wonder if he impacts, like, the finale in some way.
He saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
What if the final battle is a big Vaultlander battle?
Oh, it will be. It will be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you check, by the way? I didn't check. I meant to. If the Vaultlander battle from the menu is like 2-player or something.
I didn't check. Not once did it occur to me to actually do it.
Because if it's multiplayer, I can imagine that being a little bit more substantial. It's something if both things are human.
Yeah, having an opponent that can actually dodge the attacks.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to dodge the attacks that it feels like you would just go literally forever.
Dustin, what's your choice cut?
My choice cut is whether or not to take the money from Louis at the beginning.
Okay.
Because even though I felt pretty good about the choice I made, I still had to, I paused it and thought about it. I was like, ooh, what do I want to say here? And then I liked that it just felt right to me to take this money. It narratively worked.
So mine was all of the advice that Octavio can choose to give Anu about pitching and how to keep cool.
That's a good one too, since apparently you can get some wildly different outcomes.
Yeah, if I had an unchoice cut, it would be all of the logic heading into my skateboard score. Because we both got 57% at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it's just for this episode or if it's for a total of like everything we've done so far.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. I was saying it's possible that it could be you're graded on a per episode basis, but that also, if it is that doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't. And there's a lot of stuff that we did that just felt right. Like, everything coming out of the pitch felt like we nailed it. We fought together. Octavio, did a good, like bandstanding moment where he narrates the whole fight, and then Anu showed that the gun worked on her own leg, and then they got the investment. Felt great. And then they go out and they talk to Louis, and Louis is like, well, in terms of how much you've collaborated, I would give it a meh. Plus 1.5 or 0.5 skateboards. And then I look at the score and I'm like, okay, well, it's lower than it was before. What did I even do wrong? I don't get this. Why did Juniper die?
Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah. Why did Juniper die?
What did I mess up?
Yeah, it doesn't... I said it before, it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel conveyed in a way where it feels fair the way they're judging you. Because even during the show, like, once Anu drops into the water and Octavio and Fran come running in, at the top of the screen for me it said, your team still isn't coordinated.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, what? I didn't... In what way could I have been?
They seemed very coordinated.
Yeah, and if they weren't coordinated, it seems like narratively that's just the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's very confusing. I don't like it. As much as I like skateboards. Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong. I love skateboards.
But the skateboard score is not pulling its weight.
Yeah, when I interned on the development of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, I was thinking, man, if there's going to be a game with a skateboard score in the future, I'm going to get 100%. Boy, howdy, would I have been wrong.
Not so much. Ooh, my friend was saying he wanted to buy that yesterday, and I told him you were in it.
I'm not in it.
In the credits.
I barely did anything on that game. Barely anything.
Yeah, but that's something.
My name is in the credits. I believe it's our VV family is how I'm credited in that game, which is a little not right, but
wow, what a strange. Is that going to be on your IMDb?
I don't think I have. I don't think people. Oh,
that's just for like That's just for like well, no, because I did artwork on Mighty Magiswords and I'm on there.
Well, that's a show.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yours is a game. I feel like they're the same.
No. I think I have a Moby Games.
Okay.
I think I have a Moby Games is the equivalent to that. Actresses and actors in video games can have their games show up in IMDb, but I don't know if
the general staff.
Yeah, I don't know if just everyone on a game. Well, IMDb is also like wiki, right? Anyone can just change that.
Notoriously wrong sometimes.
Okay, then maybe I can make my own IMDb and put my own stuff on it.
Yeah, you could just throw yourself on there and no one's going to say shit.
Although there's a Wikipedia rule against that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
Is there an IMDb rule against editing your own page?
There might be. Speaking of who was your weekly guy?
Give it to Louis. I gave it to Louis.
You gave it to Louis? Louis' a good pick.
Yeah, I think I gave it to Louis the first one too. I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, Louis seems like the one.
Let me look
no, we gave it to Hubert Hot Dog.
Oh, I did give it to Hubert Hot Dog.
How could you not?
Yeah, and then last episode, I guess I just looked at my notes. I gave it to Juniper. I don't remember doing that at all. But
well, last episode, no one really showed. I told you I didn't have anybody for my weekly guy.
Yeah, I felt like this was a repeat of Louis, but actually, no. This is the first time I gave it to Louis.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Louis' a good pick.
What'd you do?
I gave it to the Angel Investor because of his voice.
Oh, that's fun. He did have a fun voice.
I swear it's Jack McBrayer, but I could be... Nowhere says it is, so it could just be...
I gotta be real with you, Dustin. I don't think it sounds like him at all.
It sounds just like him, just pitched down. It's exactly
No, No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
I've never fought for anything in my life, Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm
fighting for this.
But I can just say, oh, I guess it does, and then have my fingers crossed behind my back.
If this were a Vaultlander battle, I would have the Fwong, and you would be the CPU.
You would just be punching me in the face with your figurine so hard right now.
I would be so easy to move out of the way.
Oh man, there's gonna be so many Vaultlanders in the next few episodes. There's 10
I don't
more.
I don't know if I could do that many battles.
Because there were
Maybe
3
we'll
in the
just
first
find them.
episode, 1 in the second, and 2 in this one, which is only 6. And I think there were slots for 16.
That's a lot.
So in the next 2 episodes, there's an average of 5 each. An average.
Oh, what if this is just speculation, I have no idea, but what if you're just rewarded some given how you beat the game?
Maybe, and or like maybe you can get some in the like the top menu Vaultlander battle way of doing it, and you can get like 4 or so that way. That would make sense.
Yeah, so maybe we won't get all of them through the main game.
Well, I won't get all of them at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so that's been our episode. Anything else you want to say about this one?
Not really. I mean, kind of a lukewarm episode, but that's still a big step up.
Yeah, it definitely made me more comfortable to keep doing the game.
Yeah.
Because last episode was just so not it. It did not hit with me at all. The writing was not there for me, and it was even a disappointment from episode 1, which we thought was like inconsistently good.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, again, inconsistently good, even though it's more muted than how much we liked episode 1 as well. But it's at least just something again. We're doing stuff.
It's a competent episode.
Yeah, I care somewhat about, like, is Anu gonna die at the end? No. But maybe.
She did lose a leg.
I mean, it would make me more impressed with this episode, or with the series, if they could do something bold like that at the end, but I've not been given any reason to assume they would.
Yeah. Boy, I am a little interested in seeing what it all builds up to, if anything, just because I've gotten no indication that it is yet.
I mean, Louis just gonna try to kill Anu. That's probably it.
Yeah, probably.
Probably it. Man, I feel bad for saying it because I am so sure it will happen. It feels like a spoiler, but I don't know it. But I'm just sure.
You know what? If it's that easy to guess, then maybe they should have made it less so.
Okay,
it's on them.
Okay. Well, that's been our episode on New Tales from the Borderlands, episode 3, Capital Pains. Join us next week for episode 4. And, Dustin, take us out, buddy.
Get out of here, you crazy kids.
I've never handed it to you before, and, you did a good job.
Thanks, I was unprepared, but I think I stuck the landing.